Hi, I'm Ginni Navarre from the Legislative Analyst Office. I will be presenting a brief overview of our recently published report entitled Considering the State Costs and Benefits In-Home Supportive Services Program. First, I will give you some background on the In-Home Supportive Services Program, or IHSS. The IHSS program is the fastest growing major social services program in California, with a caseload that has more than doubled over the past 10 years. In 2008-09, the IHSS program provided in-home care to over 430,000 recipients throughout California. The program, which is available to low-income, elderly, and disabled recipients, has several benefits. It provides in-home care such as cleaning, meal preparation, bathing, and grooming, which may allow recipients to remain at home rather than in an institutional setting, such as a skilled nursing facility. Another benefit of IHSS is that it makes living at home easier for recipients and improves their quality of life. The amount of authorized monthly hours a recipient receives is determined by an assessment conducted by a social worker. Once a social worker has authorized IHSS service hours, the recipient must find a provider to provide those services. The IHSS caseload is very diverse. It serves over 430,000 recipients with varying service authorizations and needs. For example, as shown in this figure, recipients' monthly hours of services range widely, with some recipients relying very heavily on the program, receiving over 200 hours of care each month, while other recipients receive less than 25 hours of care each month. Due to the increasing cost and demand for the IHSS program, one major ongoing legislative concern has been whether the IHSS program has saved the state money by reducing institutional placement costs. This issue of whether IHSS results in a net fiscal benefit to the public sector is one of cost effectiveness. Overall, the program would be considered to be cost effective if the amount the state spends on IHSS is equal to or less than the amount the state would spend on institutional placement and other services in the absence of IHSS. We often hear the comparison that while IHSS costs over $10,000 per person per year, a skilled nursing facility costs over $50,000 per person per year. While this cost comparison is accurate, it is misleading because it does not take into account some key factors. For example, this comparison does not account for the cost of other services recipients of IHSS may receive in the community, or that not all IHSS recipients would enter a skilled nursing facility if IHSS did not exist. For these recipients, the public sector realizes a cost, but there are still benefits for recipients. The program can enhance the quality of life for these recipients by making it easier for them to live at home and reducing the time and financial burden on family. To address this issue of whether IHSS results in a net fiscal benefit to the state government, we created a fiscal model that compares the estimated cost of a world without IHSS to our estimated cost of IHSS. Please refer to our report for more details related to the data, assumptions, and limitations of our model. As shown in the figure, the model assumes that over time, in the absence of IHSS, recipients would either 1, enter a skilled nursing facility, 2, rely on resources of family and friends, or 3, rely on increased services through the Department of Developmental Services if they are developmentally disabled. It is difficult to predict the number of IHSS recipients who would most likely enter a skilled nursing facility if IHSS did not exist. Our model does not predict the number of recipients who would enter a skilled nursing facility in the absence of IHSS, but instead allows us to conduct an analysis to determine the number of recipients that would have to enter a skilled nursing facility in the absence of IHSS in order to make it cost-effective to state government. In other words, it finds that break-even point. We looked at this issue of cost-effectiveness from the perspective of the state and county costs combined and from the perspective of the state general fund costs alone. From the perspective of the state and counties combined, we found that IHSS is probably not cost-effective. This is because in order for it to be cost-effective from this perspective, we estimate that 58% of the non-developmentally disabled recipients would have to enter a skilled nursing facility in the absence of IHSS. Based on our reality check of the model results, we find it unlikely that in the absence of IHSS, enough recipients would enter a skilled nursing facility in order to make the program cost-effective from this perspective. However, we found that from the perspective of the state general fund, IHSS may well be cost-effective. This is because, from this perspective, we estimate the cost-effectiveness is achieved if 32% of the non-developmentally disabled recipients enter a skilled nursing facility in the absence of IHSS. Based on our reality check of the model, we find it reasonable that in the absence of the program, enough recipients would enter a skilled nursing facility to make IHSS cost-effective from this perspective of the state general fund. Although we find that IHSS may well be cost-effective to the state general fund in the aggregate, for some recipients, the provision of IHSS services is not likely to be the difference between living in the community and living in a skilled nursing facility. These are the recipients with a low likelihood of entering a skilled nursing facility even in the absence of IHSS. For these recipients, a reduction in IHSS services is not likely to result in skilled nursing facility costs. Lastly, we found that cost-effectiveness is not the sole purpose of IHSS. As a result, it should not be the sole basis for evaluating the merits of the program. The legislature should instead consider both the cost avoidance potential of IHSS and the quality of life for recipients. At the end of the report, we provide the legislature with options that may increase the cost effectiveness of IHSS. These options are focused on targeting any service reductions to those recipients with the lowest chance of entering a skilled nursing facility. By doing so, savings may be achieved and the overall cost effectiveness of IHSS would increase. One option is to increase the minimum threshold for qualifying for IHSS. In other words, recipients would have to have an increased level of impairment to qualify for IHSS services. Another option is to create different tiers of services in IHSS related to recipient impairment level. The most impaired recipients could continue to receive IHSS services, while the less impaired recipients would instead receive case management and funds to purchase services to assist them in remaining in their own homes. In closing, we note that evaluating the cost effectiveness of IHSS is a complicated task that raises many issues. Although we find that IHSS may well be cost-effective to the state general fund, the state can take incremental steps to increase the program's relative cost effectiveness. This concludes our webcast, and we encourage you to read our report considering the state costs and benefits in Home Supportive Services program. Thank you.